Karibu tena, unaendelea kutazama Citizen Town Hall ambapo tunazungumzia swala muhimu sana kuhusiana na ndoa na pesa. Tunazidi tu kuzungumzia swala la mahari, na hapa niko naye Jason ambaye yuko na mke wake. Atakuwa anatueleza yeye anaona watu hukosea wapi wakati ambapo watu wanatoa mahari ama wanapoulizia mahari. Jason, simama tafadhali. Tueleze.
My name is Jason. It's true, ni kweli, dowry is very important. If a man understands what dowry is, you won't have a problem with it, because you're demonstrating to that family that you appreciate this lady. But in our generation, we want easy things and we just want quick fix. But you see, sometimes the couple will agree until it gets to the stage of the dowry, because it's not your choice, it's not your decision. It involves everyone. It involves all families. It involves both sides. So the issue normally is, you want to impress your wife or the girl that you want to marry, and you will go out of your way to do it because you're a man. You want to prove to her that I can take care of you. But you see, she doesn't have a lot of say about how much you're supposed to pay. So many times when you talk about the topic of dowry, we forget that it comes from the parents, and sometimes the parents can make the couple start on the wrong footing. So it's important that we look at it from that perspective. But it is a joy. It should not be easy to just own a wife. Yeah.
Okay.
Diane, do parents interfere with the plans by the couples?
Some parents do, and also sometimes relatives and aunties and uncles also do. I just like to tie in that question with what is actually said in at the beginning. You don't become a husband by paying dowry, or the head of the family by paying dowry. You become the head of the family by virtue of love, by virtue of loving that particular woman that actually you want to be with. Because a lot of the emphasis that we put actually when it comes to finances, it was that what has made men to think that their worth is only about money. That if you don't have money, you're worthless. And if you have money, now you have power. That's why we have men who are actually mistreating their wives because they have money. You know, marriage is not about how much money you have, it's about your character. And I hope that even as a culture that we can stop this thing of looking at it as paying dowry, and actually, because paying dowry, it's payment. And let's start looking at it as appreciation. And appreciate your parents, the parents of your spouse, by what it is that you're able to actually do. And a lot of the times the parents only get to see the man who wants to marry their daughter only when the time for dowry comes. It would be wonderful to just create that relationship even before this, so that now it's not two strangers who are coming together to meet, but actually you've taken some time to build a relationship with your in-laws. Because if you don't build a good relationship with your in-laws, then even the issue of dowry would be a problem. Because sometimes, yes, you could be loving your woman and then you want to marry her, but if you've fostered a good relationship now with the parents, then it's easy to walk around the conversation of appreciation. And let us remember that sometimes marriages are crumbling because of culture. If culture is causing you to hurt your spouse, then it is time for you to consider whether you need to follow that culture to the letter. Love is the ultimate thing, because that's why we're actually getting married, for love. Yes.
Na kuna wengine hapa vijana ambao wanasema wako tayari ama wanapania kwa siku moja watafanya harusi, lakini kuna wale ambao wanauliza ni nani hasa anapaswa kutoa mahari. Lilian, kwa na swali kuhusiana na hilo, simama tafadhali.
My name is Lilian, and my question is, in our African culture, normally is the man who pays the dowry, but in some cases you find that the man can't pay it because of financial problems. Now, can the lady pay? And if she pays, do you think it can cause future problems in the future in the marriage?
Dr. Kinywa?
If you allow me, I'll answer this question as per Islamic perspective. Quran, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 4 says that وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نِحْلًا فَإِن تُبْنَ لَكُمْ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ نَفْسًا فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا.
Translation.
وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ, of course I must translate. آتُوا النِّسَاء, give women صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نِحْلًا, their bridal price, which is a must, obligation. Because in Islam, you just need 5 things to get married. 1, there must be a husband, of course. There must be a lady to be married. Then the wali, the guardian to the lady, the father or grandfather. And then there must be mahr. If mahr is not pronounced, then there's no marriage. And I'll give this example. The best marriage in Islam was the marriage between the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Khadija. his wife. And the second one, the best marriage, is the family of the wedding of Ali and Fatima, the Fatima, the daughter of Prophet Muhammad. When Fatima was being married by Ali, the mahr was only the gift was only a ring only, and that marriage is still on. And when you say it's still on, we still have their generation and descendants up to now. We call them ashraf in Islam. When you talk of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he was marrying Khadija, she's the one who was supporting him financially. So in Islam, it's allowed for women to support men financially, but the man must give something as an appreciation. That's why you come to Muslim world and you realize that sometimes we have billionaires in this country who come to us, and then when you ask how much is the dowry, they say 100 bob. We wonder what are they saying. But at the end of the day, when they go out, they have a Prado, a new Prado or a Benz, which is set for the two. So what I'm trying to say is that in Islam, it's just an issue of appreciation.
Okay.
So a man must, a woman cannot give mahr in Islam.
All right, and we have Sampaio David Dennis on Twitter. He says, if you want an expensive wedding, save up for it. Don't stress your friends with unrealistic targets. Wedding committees. Yeah. What do you think about that, Burale? It's a wedding, not a funeral. Why should I come in and pay for it, plan for it?
I know there are situations where people struggle a lot.
Yeah.
But don't ask for don't form a wedding committee because you want a wedding worth 5 million. You need to be tied and beaten up. You understand? Don't stress people to give you a grand wedding. And the people you're calling didn't even have that grand a wedding. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's on the fundamentals, somebody says, you guys, listen, I can't even get my suit, we can help you. But, I want to go to Mauritius, I want hot air balloon wedding. Well, go sleep and wake up again and come back to reality. You understand what I'm saying? I will not personally join a wedding committee that requires that. You understand what I'm saying? And just before the break, my good boss said, you pay dowry to show your might.
Yeah.
Well, I can borrow 10 million for the dowry, but then going forward, I can't afford to take care of that wife. I'm in a group called Muscles. The day I want to get married and I want to pay dowry, they will cover me. They will tell me, your boy will give you all the money. So if the parents think I have the financial capability to take care of the daughter based on what I give on dowry, I may have taken all my friends to give me money, Fuliza, Mshwari, everything. You understand what I'm saying? But what you got to understand, for me, it's an appreciation because the Bible is very clear.
Yeah.
A man shall live and cleave. You understand? When you even look at Adam and Eve, Adam was given the garden to till the garden, and Eve was brought to help the man till the garden, and she was removed from the what?
The rib.
The rib,
Yeah.
meaning it could fit in Abraham. So the moment you connect, I will give you a partner suitable to yourself. I like wearing custom-made suits, so everything suits me. So the moment you connect, and if you tell me, unless you have a lot of money, you will not marry our daughter, but I'm going to ask you, will your daughter also help me be a millionaire to take care of her? It takes two in marriage. You understand? I'll marry you. Give me peace at home.
Yeah.
To do well out there.
Okay.
Don't bring me an AK-47 mouth.
Okay. The very strong statements there. Catherine, don't you think that is where inequality in marriage begins?
Okay, first of all, I need to talk about the committees.
Yeah.
Because, for 15 years, I've been dealing with this. And what I want to say is that as Kenyans, we shouldn't really lose our culture. There is how we live our lives. There is this thing that, we don't bury our own. So why is it that when we celebrate, we don't want to celebrate with other people? So this is what I'm saying. If you're a young man out there or a young lady out there and you're planning a wedding, if you've been contributing to committees, you've come together as a group of young people, go ahead and have committees and do not be embarrassed. This is how we do our things. Okay? Committees are okay. Just don't invite me because I don't do committees. But it is okay. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about it. Because sometimes I find, especially the people who live in Nairobi, we are really selfish. We live in our houses Now we want nyumba kumi. How will nyumba kumi work? I'm not inviting you to my celebration. And this is how we don't know who our neighbors are. So my opinion on the wedding committees is that it is okay. Go ahead, fundraise. It is okay. When you have something else, somebody is sick, fundraise. Like, let's live as a community.
Okay.
What was the other question about?
The inequalities begin in terms of the money you give out for dowry.
Yes, these inequalities actually, in fact, they begin at parenting. So you find there's somebody who was asked a question about someone brought up in a well-to-do family and the other one in a not well-to-do family.
Yeah.
And you see, it is the relationship you have with money. And sometimes when we are bringing up our children, especially the children of nowadays, have a different relationship with money than a lot of us did, because most of the time my parents there was no money. There was always no money. And now, if I'm getting married to somebody else who money is always there, it's just a means to an end. Unless we go for marriage counseling, then these problems will begin to come. So what am I saying? If you're planning to get married, you can marry. You can cross groups from, somebody with more money, somebody with less money, or same socio-economic group. You can come together. But we are saying that go for counseling.
Okay.
Go for counseling and learn how the other partner, if they completely differ in the way they deal with money, perhaps you want to think whether you really want to go ahead or not. Because when problems come, and there's this girl who was brought up, she doesn't know the meaning of money really. She knows plenty, and she's continuing to waste the family money, yet there's no money. And there's this man who grew up without money, and he's trying to save. That's when problems begin.
So
go for
check.
counseling.
All right, Mashirima.
Na mnadhani tumekaa sana katika swala la mahari. Sasa hebu tuangalie wale ambao tayari wameshafanya harusi, wako ndani ya ndoa. Kuna masuala mbalimbali kuhusiana na pesa. Alvin ana swali kuhusiana na akaunti za benki.
My name is Alvin Bugwan. The question I have for you is it advisable for a couple who have already been married, who are living together, to open a joint account, because you find that money becomes a problem in most of their marriages? So is it advisable to open a joint account between couples? Thank you.
Diane, you're the best to answer this.
Yeah, this is one of the most important things that we talk about in premarital counseling, because you need to work in agreement. You need to agree. So different couples do it differently. It depends on your strengths and your weaknesses. Key thing, transparency and openness. I am earning this amount of money, you're earning this amount of money. And you make each other feel secure. Because let me tell you this, the reason why some of us withdraw our money or we start hiding it is because we don't feel like there's certainty in marriage. If you're not 100% in, or you feel like your spouse is 100% in, you're going to be very, very defensive when it comes to your money. But if you feel like we're actually doing this together, then you'll be like, you know what, honey, I'm getting 50,000 every month, you're getting 7,000 every month, let's do it together. One of the things actually can do is that you can have a joint account for yourselves, and then maybe an account for him, some money for him to do whatever it is that he wants to do, and then some money for her to do whatever it is she wants to do. But there's a joint one where you pull things together. Or you can do it differently. You can have your own separate accounts, but there's transparency and openness. Or you can have the other alternative whereby now you put all the money in, and before money checks out, you actually communicate together. Key thing, transparency and openness, because it hurts when you work so hard Monday to Saturday, and then you feel like you're married to somebody who you can't trust with finances. They're hiding what they're doing, or maybe the money that they're having, they're sending it to Mpango Kando, and so they're using the family money to bet. You're like, what happened? The 10,000 has gone to a betting company. You're like, what's going on? So that openness and transparency is critical.
How much background check should you do? Credit background check. I need to know if you're in debt, and you'll attach most of the things we acquire, and then auctioneers come and pick it all. That's number one. And also another background check is, should I make sure I know the number of siblings you're taking care of before I come into that arrangement, so that I know if I'm taking them on as well and how this money is going to work?
Yes.
How much background check do you need?
Background check is very, very important. Not in terms of like, okay, give me now your account and then I need to go and send me your M-Pesa statement. If you want to go that far, that's upon you. But you see, the thing that I told you about is that when you have friendship, it's very easy to talk about these things, because when you're friends, you're like, you know what, I'm actually in this amount of debt, you're actually in this amount of debt, or I'm hoping to do these particular things. When you start to visit your family, you realize, so you're paying school fees for your sister, you're paying school fees for your brother. That's why I say the critical thing is friendship, building that relationship together, building that relationship with your family members, the in-laws and whatnot, even before marriage. So now you're able to be aware, so that by the time you get married and then you realize, oh my goodness, my husband, my wife sends 10,000 every month to their mother, you know why they do that.
All right.
So every single thing is clear.
All right.
Have the money talk. It is very, very important to have the money talk. And come for premarital counseling before you get married.
Kuna swali lingine hapa kuhusiana na wakati ambapo watu wanakosana katika ndoa. Ochilo, simama tafadhali.
Okay. Naitwa Richard Ochilo. Mimi nilikuwa nataka kuuliza swali. Niko kwa ndoa, maybe tumekosana na mke ama kuna mambo yanatukabili katika ndoa. Ni mikakati gani tunaweza tumia ili tujenge ndoa yetu sisi kama familia?
Manake pia kumekuwa na kesi nyingi za watu wanakosana, wanauana. Ni watu waachane ama waendelee kuvumiliana? Dr. Kinywa.
Asante sana, na nitaomba kuzungumza Kiswahili madamu ndugu yangu amezungumza Kiswahili. Kwa hakika jambo la ndoa, ule mke wako afaa kuwa kama dadako. Hata Mtume Muhammad SAW alituambia, innama nisa'u shaqa'iqur rijali, hakika wanawake ni madada wa waume zao. Yani si maana ni madada, lakini vile unakaa na mke wako yani upendelee pia dada kule yuko afanywe vile vile. Yani maana ukae naye vizuri sana. Jambo la muhimu ndugu yangu katika ndoa, inatakikana kuwe na mazungumziano siku zote. Uambia mimi katika ndoa, sisi Waislamu tunaambiwa mwanamke yote ambaye kwamba mume wake atalala akiwa amemkasirikia, lau afa siku ile hatoingia peponi. Lakini mimi waambia Waislamu tusikwamie katika hadithi hapo ya Mtume Muhammad. Tuangalie pia wewe mume, ikiwa mke wako atalala na hasira na wewe, basi na wewe ukifa pia unaenda motoni. Kwa hivyo la muhimu ni kabla ya kulala kila siku, kama mmekosana, kaeni chini. Naambiaga watu wengi, ekeni viti viwili bedroom. Viti msizungumze juu ya kitanda, mweke viti viwili bedroom pia. Mwe mnakutana usiku, mnaambiana kulikuwa vipi leo, na mnaulizana umenikosea hapa na pale, msameane kila siku. Mambo ya kizidi, usikimbilie kwa wazazi wako. Wewe ndio utaanza kuwachochea wazazi wako kumchukia ule mke, ama mke kukimbia kwa wazazi wake atafanywa kuchukia wewe. Kwa hivyo siku zote mazungumziano katika ndoa ndio yataleta faida, na hakuna kuachana. Kuachana iwe ni last solution. Hakuna kitu kibaya kama kukosana.
Na asante sana Dr. Kinywa. Nataka tu tupate pia kauli ya Kasisi Wycliffe, aweze tu kutuambia jinsi ambavyo watu wanaweza kusuluhisha maneno wakati ambapo wamekosana katika ndoa katika mfumo wa Kikristo.
Kwa majina naitwa Pastor Wycliffe Mulele, ninahudumu katika kanisa la Friends Church Utawala, na nitaungana na mwenzangu ya kwamba kama wanandoa wamekosana, ni vizuri sana jinsi amesema, wasiweze kukimbilia kwa wazazi, wasiweze kukimbilia. Hata kuna wengine ambao wana toroka katika bedroom. Sio vizuri. Ni vizuri tukae tusuluhishe yale yote ambayo tumekumbana nayo, na itakuwa ni vizuri tukifanya hivyo. Mbarikiwe sana.
Asante sana. Kuna Samuel Mwenda, sijui kwa upande gani. Samuel Mwenda yuko hapa mbele. Alikuwa na swali kuhusiana na wakati ambapo watu wanakosana, ni nani anapaswa kuchukua watoto?
Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Mwenda, and my question is, we all have witnessed at one time or another that marriages cannot work out effectively, and now it happens that the two people have to divorce, and then the Kenyan constitution appears to be biased because it's favors women. I mean, if the child is below 18 years, the kid is supposed to go with the mother, and yet we know the father can as well take care of the child as the mother can. So why can't we restructure the constitution and at least give favor to men also, because they are capable of taking the care of the kid? I mean, these are responsibility between the two of them. The kid came as a result of the two of them.
Burale?
Wow, I do understand, but for me, my take is this: sadly, in most cases, when two people are in disagreement and they have children, the children tend to suffer. And we may not see it now when the two people are fighting, but later in life, the children now get rejected, they feel bad, they're angry children. My take is this. And divorce should be the last resort, to be honest with you. Divorce, the Bible is very clear. Love is patient, love is kind, and all those things. But if it happens because of irreconcilable differences, if maybe because some of the people who have been murdered, they were beaten fast and they didn't leave. But if they have to divorce, what the two people need to understand is that as two individuals, they may not appreciate each other as lovers, and that's why they're separating. But there's one thing that they should never ever forget, is that one is the father, one is the mother of that particular child. So when they come together as parents, they must work so hard to be in agreement. If the baby, maybe the child, goes to be with the father over the weekend, the man should never speak ill of the mother of that child. And if the baby is with the mother, they should not speak ill of the father. So as parents, there must be an agreement, because if you don't, later in life when you are old and grey, when those children start exhibiting some funny things, anger, and they go sleeping around, you start having a stressed childhood, yet you're the one who planted that seed. So anybody out there, you must understand, divorce, separation, when it comes to being parents, you must be in one accord, speak in the same language.
All right.
Na nadhani kufikia hapo tutapumzika kidogo, tutarejea hivi punde na mengi zaidi. Usiondoke.
All right, we're still discussing money and marriage live from the waterfront here in Karen, and there's a lot of feedback coming through on social media. I want to read just a few of them. Cindy says, is dowry an appreciation? Is it to buy a woman? Is it for making a man bossy and can mistreat his wife because he thinks he's bought her? How much should be the limit? Men look at it as buying a woman, while the family of the woman looks at it as a fortune. And we have Chris Kirwa, who says genuine support structure to your wedding is dependent on you and your networks. Who have you been there for when they needed you? If one of the spouses is pushing the other to be extravagant, pull the plug, he says. Catherine, what do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree with Chris Kirwa. Thank you for watching, Chris. Yes, you should pull because if one of you is pushing the other one, like let's spend, of course, try and agree. Try and seek some counseling, but those are danger signs.
So you pull the plug?
Yes.
you don't agree on a way of spending?
Yes, because we agree money is like, let no one cheat you. It's a really big problem in a lot of marriages today. We've had the statistics, but also he talked about your networks. Let's try and live like human beings living with other human beings. Think about your networks. I talked about it earlier. So your networks are the people in terms of, if you hear your friends are in this problem, maybe help. Try and be supportive. So this way, when you're asking for help for your wedding, it doesn't look like, I suppose that's what he means. Your networks. So what happens is that people create these WhatsApp groups. One morning you wake up, you've been added, people you don't know. Okay. That you're going to fundraise for a wedding.
And when you leave, you're added again.
Yes, you leave, you get added.
There's no left in the group.
Our company gets added every day because I think we give out free weddings. And when we go to the... But what are we saying? Think about your networks. Be there for your friends. Don't try and live like an island. And then on the day of your wedding, you want us to be there. Be there like a human being.
Okay. Diane, there's another question here from Evelyn Kwamboka. She says, mambo ya ATM na PIN number na M-Pesa. Should that be my own secret or should we share? ATM PIN, M-Pesa PIN.
And M-Pesa PIN, it depends on the level of trust. It depends on the level of trust. There are some couples, you see also different people have different strengths and weaknesses. You could be a spendthrift in the marriage, and then maybe your spouse is very, very manageable. Because the couples actually have counsel where the husband takes care of earning the money, but then the wife manages everything. So you see, you have to custom make your marriage according to how it is that you want to do it together. Okay. So if you have full trust of each other, You can even have each other's M-Pesa pins and whatnot. Okay, you can send the money over here. That's okay. It's the level of trust. Because if you can trust somebody, you go to bed to sleep with them. Because sleep is the highest level of trust. If you can sleep with somebody, that person can do damage to you, and while you're sleeping. So if you can trust that person to sleep with them, you trust that person to make love to them, have children with them, and then you don't trust them with your money, kuna shida.
Okay.
Kuna shida. So you need to develop that level of trust whereby we are together in this. That's why I said 100% in. Either you're 100% in or you're 100% out.
Okay.
There's no in between. Only that way will you be able to enjoy a good quality of marriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Mwenda on Twitter says she wants a wedding, which I don't want. She loves me to the moon and back, but she insists that we must have a wedding. I hate weddings so much, and I've never even thought of having one. Will I end up losing her?
Ooh.
Can I respond to that one?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kathy.
Mwenda, you know what? You just save up, do whatever you have to do, just give her that wedding. And why do I say this? You know, I've come across so many couples. So at first, you know, the guy comes and says, you know, I'll just buy you the Prado, the one you've always wanted. Let's just go to the attorney generals and just get married, and she complies. Later on, this issue will keep on coming up. It will keep on coming up. 10 years into the marriage, they usually have a wedding. And we've seen so many of these weddings because a lot of women want to wear the white wedding dress. There's something about it. So just get over with it. Just do it. Even if you buy her the big mansion, you buy it won't go away. Okay. And it's from experience. It's not just do it.
All right. Mashirima.
Hiyo imenifurahisha. Marvin ana swali kuhusiana na yale mambo ambayo unapaswa kumwambia mpenzi wako. Marvin.
Well, my name is Marvin, and first allow me to say that I belong to what has come to be known in meme circles as the Nitumie Fair generation. Now, my question is, you know, I'm a young man who's thinking about marrying and seriously dating in the near future, and if I get to have an Nitumie Fair girlfriend, how then do I start this conversation that, you know, I will not always provide? Yes, when I may tumia you fair, do you shopping, but then I will not always do the shopping. At one point, you'll have to also chip in this relationship, and when you get married, I will not, you know, always cater for the financial needs. Okay. How then do I train my girlfriend as early as now to get to realize that?
All right. Bural, is it something you train someone to get to realize, or is it's either there or it's not? Sharing financial responsibilities.
But what I will tell you is that's, I think, is it Diane who talked about communication.
Yeah.
And why is she asking for the fare all the time? Well, is it when you send it to me a fare, is that to see you, or is it just a word you use? I mean, my age doesn't allow me to. I could be answering what I don't know. But you're saying, do you mean literally need to me a fare, or when you want something, she's always asking for something when she wants something?
Yeah. Nitumie fair is a phrase that, you know, sort of encompasses everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's always the one handling.
You're always
the
one. Okay, fine. First and foremost, there'll be a problem if every time she wants something, before you get married, it's you she's asking. And you have to be very careful. I tell the young men this: if she only calls you and sounds nice and sexy on phone before she goes to the salon, then there's a problem. If she only calls you when she wants something and sounds very nice and tells you all the good compliments, like your voice should be on radio, you know, then there's a problem. Just the way I tell ladies, if the man only calls you and speaks in a bass after 10 p.m, there's a problem. And you don't know, and I've said the man could be in the soprano in the choir in church, but he's holding his neck to sound sexy like Trevor. You know what I'm saying? He just wants you around the bed area. You go to the supermarket, you go to the bed section. You also, there's some telltale signs. And those are the things that if you don't take, you know, the red flags. And the problem is sometimes when you're so much in love, the red flags look purple.
Yes.
So you got to be very clear.
Yes.
Because those things, if it's a habit, when you get to marriage, she will have a job, but even the things she can do for herself, in a way of helping you because you have school fees and rent, she'll always come to you.
Okay.
You'll feel pressured, and you'll start going to another woman who does not ask you for things but gives you her thigh to put on your head.
Mashirimu, unajua kidogo ishapita saa 5, sasa sitazungumza sababu sasa kuongea na base sasa wewe ongea.
Hiyo ambayo Burale amemaliza nayo kali sana. Lakini Kineni wa Embu amuuliza swali hilo kuhusiana na yale mambo ambayo unapaswa kuangalia, na nitaisoma tu jinsi alivyoandika. Sema, what happens when you trust your girl with your account ATMs and she be doing withdrawals without informing you, but forgets you receive phone notifications on transactions, and when you ask her she denies? What are the future dangers? Kindly.
Dr. Kinyo, you want to jump in on this?
Yes, I think financial matters are very important, and crucial in marriage. But first, I would like to state that in Islam, your wife's money is her money, period. If your wife is working, you cannot ask her any money because that's her money. She gives you only when she wants. But when now it's a matter of your money and she's withdrawing and denying, then there is break of trust. Marriages are built on trust. Young men, young ladies, marriages are built on trust. As soon as trust stands in marriage, then you'll have the happiest marriage in this world. But as soon as trust is lost, even one day, you'll always have doubts with your wife or your husband. So let us maintain trust. If someone withdraws money, of course nowadays every time, even when I fuel my car, I always get the automatic message, now you have fuel. Now the issue is, say that I've used the money for this thing. If you now start denying, it means that you're using the money in something which is not right in your marriage. So trust is very important in marriages.
All right, Dennis, and there's another person here, Dennis, on Twitter, and he's wondering, should a man marry an older lady than him? Diane.
Should a man, marriage is never about age. It's about maturity. It's about maturity. Sometimes some of us look at marriage as if you get born, you go to school, you go to university, you get a job, then marriage. Or just because you have money, that means that you're ready for marriage. No, it's about the maturity. Are you willing to be able to be responsible with somebody's heart, their vision, their purpose, their desires? Are you willing to be able to be responsible? Sometimes you can meet somebody who's whatever, let's think of an age, let's say 40, but then there's another person who's at the age of 32 who's actually looking more mature than the other person. So maturity is not even about the age. It's about your inner upbringing and how you've allowed yourself to be molded to be responsible for marriage. So the key thing is, who are you as a man? Are you grown? And who is that woman? Is she grown enough? And does she look at you as a boy or as a king? That's key. And as you acting as a king or as a boy.
All right. Naona Mashirimu unakubaliana kabisa.
Tena sana. Naona kama hapa napata premarital counseling. Sawa, kuna swali lingine hapa kuhusiana na dini ambalo huwa linaibuka mara nyingi watu wanapopanga kufanya harusi. Santa, simama tafadhali.
My name is Santa Kwekwe, and my question directly to Dr. Kinyo is, love itself, it's already hard to find, but why do you put boundaries on people who are having different religions when it comes to marrying each other? I don't understand. Each other. I don't know.
Kuna mwingine pia aliuliza swali linalofungamana na hilo kuwa ni nani anastahili kubadilisha dini ama kubadilisha kanisa kwa wale ambao ni Wakristo, lakini mmoja Mkatoliki, mwingine anakwenda kwa ACK. Nani anapaswa kubadili dini?
Naam. Wajua, unazungumza Kiswahili na mimi naanza kuzungumza Kiswahili ama Kiingereza. Unapenda nizungumze Kiswahili ama Kiingereza?
Napenda uzungumze Kiswahili.
Sasa Waislamu tunafuata Qur'an na hadithi. Kwa sababu Mtume Muhammad SAW alipokuwa anaacha dunia alituambia sisi, inni dhahibun la rabbi wa inni tarikum fikum mustaqalain. Nenda kwa Mwenyezi Mungu na naachia vitu viwili vizito. Kitabu Allah, kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu, hii Qur'an, wa sunnati na sunna yangu. Sasa sisi alivyotuambia, idha atakum man tardhauna dinakum fazawijuhu, akiwajia mtu ambaye kwamba mnamridhia dini yake basi muozeni. Maana katika Waislamu mimi naruhusiwa kumuoa Mkristo ama mtu si Muislamu, mimi mwanamume, lakini mwanamke wa Kiislamu haruhusiwi kidini kuolewa ni mtu ambaye kwamba si Muislamu. Na nitakupigia sababu ni kwa kuwa kama katika law inafomiwa na mambo ya jurisprudence. Uislamu ni hivyo. Wajua mwanamke yuko chini ya mume. Kwa hivyo nikimuoa mwanamke ambaye si Muislamu, na nishawahi kuoa mwanamke si Muislamu mimi mwenyewe, unakuta watoto wangu mara nyingi watanifuata mimi kama baba. Ndio sababu. Lakini lao mwanamke Muislamu anaolewa ni mwanamume si Muislamu, ni maana watoto tafuta dini ya ule mwanamke. Na hii inatokea ya ule mwanamume. Na inatokea katika hadithi ya Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam pia inasema tanaka hutakfuru. Oweni muwe wengi kwa sababu nitajifahiri siku ya kiyama kupata watu wengi. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio maana Waislamu wanamume anaweza kuoa wanawake ambao si Waislamu, lakini mwanamke Muislamu kidini haruhusiwi kuolewa ni mtu si Muislamu. Kwa hivyo hapo mwenye kubadilisha dini zote ni mke.
Okay. Pastor Wycliffe, labda unaweza kutuambia tu kwa kifupi, kwa wale ambao ni Wakristo lakini wako katika makanisa tofauti, nani anastahili kubadili kanisa lake?
Nitakuwa kwa ufupi ni mwanamke. Ndio kusikuwe na shida kila wakati. Wakati mwanamke ameenda, maybe yeye ni Mwangilikana, ameenda hujui ameenda wapi, lakini mkiwa pamoja kwa kanisa lako itakuwa ni vizuri na shida hazitakuwa katika ndoa.
All right.
Trevor?
We have Wilson Obanda from Kisumu. He says, thanks for bringing this back to us. There's so much. Women is actually saying on Twitter that marriages have been commercialized so much so that women start sizing us up by how much we can spend on weddings without considering the desperate life that awaits couples after the wedding. As for me, a civil marriage at the AG's office would do, and I'd spend at most 30,000 shillings. Catherine, you're talking about this in terms of people having a preference for much cheaper weddings now.
Yes.
Yeah. Then what the other question that came to my mind is, he said that he wanted to spend 100 shillings, but the society insisted that he has to spend 3 million shillings. Who was that for, and was it even necessary? Because he came up and said, my wedding is 100, but now people want it to be 3 million. Who decides on why was that even necessary to begin with?
Well, we most certainly aired his wedding, the 3 million part, the 3.8 million part.
Yes.
I think I didn't sit on the committee, but I think everybody was so wowed with the fact that he could spend 100 shillings only. And all of you, including Citizen, you went crazy about
the media,
this. Yes,
the media.
All of us. But what that showed is actually what our new study has revealed, that couples are being pushed, and they are just looking for a safe passage. They don't have, or they don't even want to spend all this money.
Okay.
But there's the societal pressures. But what happened, let me talk about the wedding industry. Let me defend them.
Very briefly.
They were rewarding him.
Okay.
Because he said himself, he enjoyed the first part, but even the second part he enjoyed.
Okay.
And what are we saying? Even we, all of us on the panel here, we are saying, if you have the money, getting married is a major step in life.
Okay.
And therefore, why don't we celebrate all cultures from the beginning? We always say it's the end time business. When Jesus Christ comes back, as Christians we believe, some people will be at the altar still getting married. So we are in the end time business. We are still in that business. So therefore, it is important to accept the stages in life. You know, when you're born, a baby is born, you get married, is a major step. We celebrate, all cultures celebrate, but we are saying, if you have the money, spend it. If you have it. If you don't have it, it is okay.
Okay.
Yes, and even the government has recognized that, and that's why at the Attorney General's office, in fact, it's about not more than 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not more than 10,000.
We're running out of time here, but Jeep Masco on Twitter says, ask Burale if it's necessary to be in a relationship with a demanding woman, hoping she will change in the future. Si hata Yesu alikuja wabaya wakabadilishwa. Some can change maybe. But that's according to Jeep Masco.
Yeah, we need to ask ourselves, what do you mean by demanding? Sometimes she demands of you to change for the better. And if you don't want to change, you will think she's being too much. So some demanding women are good for you, but not demanding a 10 million wedding when you can only afford 100 shilling wedding.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
And yes, everybody can change. You don't marry because you're perfect.
Okay.
You're just imperfect people who love each other perfectly.
All right.
And you come together in purpose. And by spending time with somebody, some good things may rub off and some bad things will drop off. as long as there's love and communication. He said something, and I want to touch on it. He enjoyed his 100 shilling wedding. When he told his wife, I only have 100 shillings, she did not say goodbye. You understand? But let me tell you, they have had more trouble because of the 3 million wedding. People are gossiping them because of the 3 million wedding. If we remained it at 100 shillings, nobody would be abusing them on social media, having a problem with the wife adding weight. You understand? And for those who gave the 3 million shillings, give him the money, let him buy a plot.
Okay. Mashirima.
Na tunazidi tu kupata maswali yale ambayo yanajitokeza sana baada ya kuoa ama kuoana, haswa kwa wanawake. Brookrimas, simama tafadhali.
My question, should a woman change their identity? Should a woman change her name after she's married to be Mrs. probably Burale, for instance?
Absolutely.
And why is it so?
I'll tell you something.
Very
know
briefly.
there's this fashion of, I'm not going to take your name. You understand? But name is also powerful. It doesn't mean that you're losing your identity. It just means you're accepting your new arrangement. You understand? Oh, no, you know, my father is a powerful man, so I'll remain with my father's name. Then stay with your father. You understand what I'm saying? It is just because I'm taking you as my wife, you want me to take care of you. You want me to be your priest, your provider, your protector, but you don't want my name. You can't have your cake and eat it. And there's nothing wrong with taking the name. It doesn't make you look any less. You understand what I'm saying? You can still have your name Janet Jackson Burale. But don't say I'll remain Janet Jackson.
Okay.
I'm not taking Burale.
Gathering very
But
briefly.
Burale,
I want to respond to that.
Would there be a difference with Janet Jackson Burale and Janet Burale? For those who hyphenate your name,
You
your
can
husband's
hyphen,
name.
as long as Burale is there. Can even put a full stop.
Catherine, briefly on that.
To the ladies and even to the ladies who are listening at home, there are 2 conditions under which you can change your names. Number 1, if he has a famous last name and it can open doors, you change your name.
Wait, what?
Yes, you change your name. There are women who've been married, and at the time of divorce, they say, you know what, just take everything, let me have the name.
And if he doesn't?
If he doesn't, ditch the name. The second one, when you should change the name, actually you're sending it out into the universe that, look, I am committed to this marriage. You know, you're sending positive vibes, and your marriage will last. But if you have a really famous second name, you should really think twice before changing your name.
Dr.
Because
Kinyo,
you'll
do you
close a
agree
lot
with
of
this? I know
doors.
Burale
don't
disagrees.
I don't agree. One of the reasons is that I'm taking law.
Yeah.
And you are married to Burale. Then your name is Janet Burale. Then you divorce. And then you are married now to James.
You restore factory.
Now you have to go back to affidavits and other things.
Yes.
Number 1. But speaking from Islamic perspective, women maintain their name.
Okay.
They are not allowed, in fact, by law, to change their names. Let them remain with their names.
All right.
For me, Mrs. Burale.
But Burale, this is one that we cannot run away from, especially when we think about branding.
Yes.
For example, like I have a famous name.
Yes.
So do I change Kapombe, which everyone
Yes.
knows because of alcohol,
Or
then
I
take
don't-
up
I
another
don't
Or
name?
does the husband change?
But also, that's also where the problem is with the now generation. When you enter marriage, it's not about branding. You're coming together for purpose, to raise a godly generation and to live a fulfilled life. Let others know you, because the moment, even if today you called yourself Burale, your job has been so good that your name change will not take it away. You understand what I'm saying? But when it comes to marriage, there is a greater thing than branding, and that's a problem. We spend 10 million on a wedding because of branding. We are going to pay dowry. We have 75,000 cars, yet we only have Uber chap to use on your marriage. You understand what I'm saying? So I would urge these young people who think about branding, who think about your name and your famous name and all that. Let me tell you, there'll come a time that name will not be famous. The lights will go off any time. You understand what I'm saying?
All
So
right.
it's purpose and friendship.
Okay.
When we are down, friendship holds us together.
All right.
And when you come together for purpose, no matter the situations, you'll hold each other together and say, let's still go towards the mark of the high calling.
All right. Diane, Pauline on Twitter says, will marriage be successful when the woman is more accomplished than the man? Very briefly.
It will be successful if the man is a secure man. If the man is secure, and then the woman also does not put it to his face, I'm better than you. So you have a woman who knows that just because she earns more doesn't mean that she's superior. So she uses the money that she's earning for the purpose of the family, because that's the reason why we go to work. And I'll actually love to encourage women. Find something to do that earns you money. Even if your husband is earning, find something to do that earns you money, because when you earn money, you grow as a woman, you grow intellectually, you feel good when you're seeing your kids eating chapati that actually you worked hard for.
Okay.
So when you're earning more than the husband, still respect him, still honor him, still show him appreciation. And if you as a man, don't be intimidated. Be secure as a man. You know, because your worth is not just financial. Your worth is also about your character, your love, your care, your presence.
Okay, we've really overshot our times, but there's a burning question there.
Yes, there's one question here on prenuptial agreements. Is that important? And the last one, Ochilo had asked about when people have a problem in their marriages and they want to separate, should the dowry be returned?
Refund. Diane, we start with you as your final remarks as well.
Okay, yes. Okay. If you see dowry as payment, you'll want a refund. But if you see it as appreciation, you'll be like, you know what, at some point in time, I was appreciating the woman that I loved, or I still love, but we've actually seen that we cannot go together. And let me just say this, there's more to life than marriage and having kids. Because you put so much pressure on marriage, that's why marriages are failing. But when you take away the pressure from marriage, you will find that marriage is so successful. And if you realize that you cannot work together, end it civilly and maturely. We are all adults. Just have that conversation. You know what? We've just seen like at Pali. Let's just end this thing in a mature way. What was the first question actually?
Prenuptial
agreement.
Yes.
I don't advocate for that, because actually now you're setting yourself up for failure. You know, marriage is something that you enter into 100% in. So in case of things don't work out, you will sort that one out later. But no one gets married, hopefully, I think, thinking that kutoumana. You know, you enter into marriage because of love. Again, I go back to this motive. Motive is key. If your motive is good, then you'll be able to work together. Your motive has to be right, and the person that you're marrying, their motive also has to be right.
All right, Dr. Kinyua, final remarks very briefly.
Final remarks is that let us build trust in marriages and love our wives as if they are our own sisters, and marriages will continue flourishing forever.
All right, Catherine. And you can also delve in on the prenuptial agreements and the refund of dowry very briefly.
So, you know, things to do with dowry and all that, those were cultural things. In my culture where I come from, you return the dowry. There's a lot of songs even composed about that. So I don't have what to say. It is what the culture says. About prenuptial agreements, yes and no. Let me talk about the yes part.
Very briefly.
Briefly. First of all, I don't even know. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't even think it's constitutional. You cannot enter into a contract that violates somebody's constitutional rights. So it's about what does the Constitution say in the case of separation. But that said, I think people, sometimes you may be getting into a marriage and sometimes there are other interests. So maybe you're getting married into a family that they feel they are already financially really strong. So they may want to protect maybe their interests. So even though it doesn't exist, there are people who build trusts, they build things around that so that you get married to this guy or to this lady, but you will never touch the family money because of the way it's constituted. So sometimes, yes, you may want to think about that if maybe sometimes your parents have a reason to think your spouse is not getting into the marriage for the right reasons.
All right. Burale?
Marriage is a beautiful thing. For those who are married, enjoy. For those who are trusting God for a spouse, may you meet the bone of your bones and the flesh of your flesh. God bless.
All right. Awesome. And that's where we leave it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Catherine Masitsa, Managing Director, Samantha Bridal, Dr. Hassan Omar Kinyua, Muslim Marriage Committee member and lecturer as well, and Diane Masinde, Marriage Counselor, and Robert Burale, Coach. Thank you for making time, and thank you for being here this night. It's chilly, but this conversation must be had. My name is Trevor Mbijo. It was a pleasure having you with us. And Mashirima Kapombe, sasa wewe ndio wafunga. Unajua nimeambiwa sifai kuongea sana sasa hivi.
Sawa, asante sana mtazamaji pia kwa jumbe zenu, manake zimeingia nyingi. Kwa wale ambao pia wameweza kuuliza maswali, nadhani tumejifunza mengi. Wale ambao wanajitayarisha kwa ndoa, wale walio katika ndoa, kuna mambo kadha wa kadha wataweza kubadilisha. Tukutane Jumatatu ijayo panapo majaliwa. Usiku mwema.